All right, what's going on, everyone? E-bike mods today. I'm gonna modify this bike. I'm gonna do some mods to the Pantera bike from Tonnerrey, also called the D2 on their website. No logos on this thing at all, totally flat black, cool looking bike. It's 60 volt dual motor, but there's a couple things I wanna change about it. There's a few issues I got with it. The suspension is non-adjustable. I think that shock's a little bit stiff, so I'm gonna swap that out. I got a new adjustable air shock I'm gonna put in there. So we're gonna do that. The next thing I'm gonna do is a new front chainring, slightly larger, because you lose pedal feeling really quick with this one. I can't remember if it's like 42 or 48 or what, but we're going to 52. And then also these have shorter crank arms. These are 170s, these are like 152. That should eliminate the pedal strikes I keep getting with this bike. So got to shorten that piece up, get rid of the pedal strikes. So we're gonna swap that out. I've also got new tires, a new tire tread, which I think looks really aggressive and cool. We're gonna put these bad boys on there. That's gonna really change up the look of this Pantera bike. I'm also gonna put in some bar end mirrors and change out the grips because I hate these cheap plastic grips. That's the main bulk of what we're doing, but I also might put on my, right here, my CitizenPerformance turn signal kit. I think I might add this to the bike as well. Put it right here. I might keep this headlight, I might not. I haven't decided yet. But let's see if this even works. Let me show you. All right, so this is the e-bike turn signal and horn kit that I sell. It's 120 bucks, comes with everything you need. You get all the mounting brackets, the horn, the 4 signals, the switch to operate everything. And what makes this better than all the other signal kits you're gonna buy online is this one is plug and play and runs off your bike's batteries. No need to charge anything. And when I say plug and play, this is what I mean. It comes with this little Y splitter power adapter plug. And all you have to do is find your bike's display wire right here, not the one that goes over to the button cluster, the other wire that goes right into the bike's wiring harness. And you unplug that like this, they're tight. You take the display, you plug it into my light kit. So let's do that. Line up the pins. It's a green 5-pin plug, round plug. If your bike has this green round 5-pin plug, good chance that this kit will work. They're not all wired exactly the same. So you plug your display into the kit, and then you take the other end of the kit and you plug it back into the bike's wiring harness. And now all I've done is jumped in the middle there to steal power from the batteries. Pull out your switch, hit the turn signal. You got working signals. Hit them both at the same time, you get 4-way flash and horn. Oh, it's so loud. The horn's super loud. I designed this to be used in car traffic. It's a straight up automotive horn. So super loud horn. We might put this on the bike as well. Okay, that's our plan for today. Let's get rolling. So as I went to take this pin out of the top of the shock, I noticed that it is actually bent. As I spin it, you can see the shock wobbling. Look at that. That's how bent that pin is. I don't know if it came like that or if I bent that, but we gotta change that. That's pretty crazy. Not to mention the heads of these bolts are like stripped off and this bolt won't even tighten anymore. Okay, I got that shock out. It was not easy. You can see I just usually zip tie the suspension in place. That way when I remove the shock, nothing sags or moves. But here's the shock. We got out. Hopefully we can reuse these spacers. I'm gonna need those. But I had to get a crowbar out and pry that pin out of there. Because this is the one that came out. This is the new one I'm gonna put in. But look how bent this thing is. That's the new one. This thing was crazy bent. I don't know how that happened. Did I bend that? We got all the spacers out of our shock. Here's the old shock, right? And we just took the spacers out of each end. So these were down here like that. And these were up top on the shock like this. So we're gonna have to reuse all these because this is what fits the bike. So we gotta take those and put them into the new shock, which we removed all their spacers out of there. We don't need those. We got to swap all this stuff in here. So these are just going to go in there. So I can push them in. I'm going to press them in, maybe tap them in with a hammer. But these will go on the bottom. These will go on the top, and everything should fit perfectly in the bike, right? All right, we're done. We got our adjustable air shock in there. So now we have adjustable rear suspension. Had to troubleshoot a little bit as I was putting it in. Probably took me like 35 minutes to do that because, well, the first time I did it, I put it in backwards and I couldn't get to my air inlet here. I had the shock flipped that way, so it was behind here. I couldn't even get to it. But I took it back out and put it back in. The problem I was having is something in this suspension is a little bit twisted. I don't know what. So the holes that the pin go through, they weren't lining up exactly. I had to kind of pry it in there a little bit. Had to use a few washers here as spacers so everything fit nicely. But hey, we got an adjustable air shock in there now. I've got the new pin in there that is actually straight, and the bolts aren't rounded off and they actually tighten down. So the suspension is straight as it can be. Adjustable air shock now, and the bolts are tight. That sounds like an upgrade to me. See how to use a wide variety of tools here. But let's do the chainring next. That should be way easier. All right, let's see if we can't release the chain. Get that out of our way. There we go. Now we got to take this off right here. There we go. This is just one little nut that kind of hides where we need to get to. Oops. There we go. Take that out. And now we got to use our special tool, a little crank puller tool. So we're going to put this like that. We're going to thread it in here like that. And then we're going to start tightening this. Okay, we reached the point where those are both tight. Now we just have to kind of spin them in reverse ways, and that's going to release. This pin's going to slowly push in there and pull this thing off. Put this in there like that. My 15 mil wrench. And we're going to kind of just go like this until it starts to come off. I think it might have released already. Yeah, that was quick. It popped right off. There you go. That's how you take off both the chainring on this side and also the crank arm on the other side. Same process, but you got to have the little puller tool like that. I'll link all the stuff, all the shocks and tools I use. Put it all in the links below. All right, here's the one that we're moving to. I just bought it on Amazon. It's a 52 tooth. The original was a 48. That's not that big of a difference, so I'm not going to worry about the chain length. Ideally, you know, if you make a drastic change and you go up like 7 teeth or something, you should probably add more links to the chain. I'm not going to worry about it. It's not going to make that huge of a deal. So let's pop this on. And then as we tighten this bolt in here, it's just going to snug everything up. There we go. Put our chain back on. Okay, now we just got to swap over our pedal and we're done. I think I mentioned before, this original, this is like 170 millimeter, and this new one's like 152. So, you know, 20 millimeter difference there. But what that's going to do is at the bottom of the pedal stroke, the pedal's not going to be as close to the ground. So hopefully we won't get as many pedal strikes. All right, we're going to do pretty much the same thing on this side. Get this loosened up. Put our little crank puller thing in there. It only takes a couple spins here. There. I felt it release. And it pops right off. Get this piece off. There you go. Now, you'll see too when you're buying these things, a lot of times it'll say, is your crank arm a diamond or a square? So the new one I bought's a square. This one's a diamond. It doesn't matter. You just have to make sure you buy two of the same. Right now, if I put this one on there, the pedals will be like lined up with each other instead of opposing. So you just have to put square on that side, square on this side, or diamond on that side, diamond on this side. All right, next item on our list, time to swap out some tires. We're gonna put on these babies. Let's roll. Now I do like that this front wheel has this extra torque plate on here to keep everything locked in place. Looks like that. In addition to the lock washer. So it's got like double to keep the axle from spinning in the dropout. Okay, let's change it out. All right, let's get this tire kind of molded into a tire shape here. And very important, make sure you grab the front tire for the front wheel. Just kidding. But that's a pretty cool tread pattern. I like that. It's gonna look really sharp. Okay, those went on pretty easy, actually. Really easy. They look sharp. I like that. Gotta get some air in them. Okay, all set. What do you guys think? I think it's pretty cool. All right, we got our front wheel done. Looks really good. We're doing the back wheel now. I'm trying to take the back wheel off, but it's stuck. it won't come out of the dropouts. So I want to show everyone this helpful tip that I kind of learned a long time ago. I swap wheels a lot. See if I can get this to focus right there. What happens is the axle turns just a little bit in the dropout before the torque washer stops it. So it's wedged in the dropout right now. And all you have to do is take a 10mm wrench, put it on the axle. Come on, camera, focus for me. Whoops. Did you know? It already turned. Did you see that? All I did was put a little bit of pressure on that and it turned it straight into the dropouts instead of being, you see how it's turning a little bit? Oops, if I can hold the wheel straight. You can see the axle was kind of turned a little bit. So you just put that wrench on there to line up the axle perfectly in the dropout and it'll slide right out. Comes right out, no problem. Just like butter. So if your back wheel or even front wheel won't come out, if you have a front motor, that's why the axle is just a little bit turned in the dropouts and you just got to straighten it out. Rear tire has been swapped out and now we are just running our rear turn signals. All right, so running the wire through the frame. It's just one real thin wire that's just got to be routed through. I went in right here and then just pushed it around this battery spot. I took off this metal plate, ran the wire underneath with all the other wires, and it just comes out right here where we can plug in our horn and front signals and front part of the wiring harness. All right, I might make some changes here to the front end. I might get rid of their stock headlight and just use my smaller light that mounts here up on the handlebars like that. And then right here is going to be where our signals and horn are. So I'll still have signals, headlight, horn, everything, but we'll eliminate this one for now. All right, we got our front turn signals and our horn all mounted up on that bracket. The bracket comes with the kit and it just mounts right where the stock headlight mounts. You use that bolt that goes in the top of the fork. So now we just got to clean up the wiring. I'm routing all the wiring. We got our headlight mounted up here. I got to get the button cluster mounted on the handlebars and then just clean up the wiring best I can. But we might make some changes up here. Being that I eliminated their headlight and horn and you can't even really see their turn signals at all, I'm just going to eliminate this button cluster. It's going to be too much here for the handlebar. So I'm going to unplug it right there and just like cap it off, take this off and put my button cluster on there instead. All right, guys, we're mounting up the rear turn signals and the bracket I give you in the kit is meant to slip in right behind the taillight. But you can see this taillight is really recessed into, like underneath the rack, and this rack is just honestly in the way. I can't really slip in behind this taillight. So I had to come up with kind of a creative solution here. When you're dealing with aftermarket parts like my turn signal kit, they're meant to be kind of universal fit, where you might have to solve some things like this as you do in the install because every bike is going to be different. Every taillight, every rear rack is going to be different. So here's what I came up with. Let me set this camera down. What I did is, I drilled some holes right through the rack right here. Drilled 2 holes down all the way through the rack. And my plan is I'm going to take my turn signal bracket here. I'm just going to put it right here and I'm going to mount right like that. Just put a bolt down through and down through the bracket. It'll go through, there we go, like that. So it's just gonna hold it on like that, which I'll still be able to see my tail light right here, and my turn signals will be just like that. So that's what I came up with. Got any better ideas? Put them in the comments, but I think that's gonna work pretty good. All right, we got all of our modifications complete. I think my favorite ones might be either the turn signals or the tires. I like the look of the new tires. Put some reflectors on the rim there too to give it a different look going down the road. But let me pull over in the shade. I'll show you what the total finished product looks like. Modifications are complete on the Black Pantera bike from Tonnerrey. What do you think? I didn't change up the appearance too much of it. I kind of wanted to stick with their totally blacked out theme. They send you this bike exactly like this. There are no logos, no company names, brand names, nothing on this bike. It's totally blank. So if you want a cheap bike that was like a blank slate that you could customize, this might be a good one to start with. But I didn't change the appearance all that much. I just changed up the things that mattered to me. I put on what I think are nicer tires with a better tread pattern. They're actually really not even that loud going down the pavement. So I was pleased with that. I don't like when the tires are super loud. I did put some reflectors on the rims too, just to kind of change up the look. Give it just a little tiny bit touch of some other color other than black on this thing. So better looking tires on there, cooler tread pattern. We got a bigger chain ring, so I have better feeling in the pedals. We went from 48 to 52 tooth, and then we got shorter crank arms, hopefully eliminate some of the pedal strikes I was getting. We went to an air ride suspension. We got an adjustable air shock in there now. We got a complete lighting package on the bike. Turn signals, both front and back. Let me turn them on for you. This is what my turn signal kit looks like. There's the front signal. We got our horn right here, of course. Here's the rear. You can see my finished product of how I mounted that bracket on there. I thought that was the quickest and easiest way to do it. And I have heard some folks say, well, you know, you tip over these bikes and you're gonna break those signals off. Well, I mean, they do give a little bit. There's like a rubber right here that allows them to flex. And if you do end up breaking one, I mean, I sell them on my website where you can buy a replacement for like 12 bucks. The one time I've tipped this bike over, not this one, but a different one, I ended up bending the bracket, not breaking the signal. So we got turn signals front and back, and I've got it set up on this button cluster here. You can see I removed theirs. I put my button cluster on. Lights up green when the signal's on. If you do both at the same time, it ends up being like a four-way flash. It's kind of hard to do with one finger. There we go. I think we got it close. So you got 4 ways now. If you want the hazard feature on your bike. And I'll do this horn for you. It's super freaking loud because I made it for car traffic. All right, ready? There you go. And then what else we got on here? I changed the headlight. I took off their giant headlight. I just put on my headlight. I sell these too. They're rated for up to 72 volts. This is a 60 volt bike. You got a headlight switch here. It'll light up blue when it's on. Pretty bright, like light bar style light. And then I changed up the grips. So you got these grips instead of those really cheap rubber grips. We got locking grips with the palm rest on them. We put bar end mirrors on so I can see traffic around me. So I really tried to solve with these mods a lot of the problems. You know, I didn't have signals. I didn't have mirrors. I didn't have good grips. I didn't have good tires. I was losing pedal feeling. Suspension needed adjustment. So that's what we did with this one. I think it turned out really cool. It's a nice little ride now. Very small bike. Probably saw when I was pedaling it. You know, I'm 6 feet tall. It's a super small bike. I can't really get full leg extension on it, but I mean, you could put in a taller seat post if you want, but heck, I just ride this thing basically like a little miniature motorcycle. It's a budget bike. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not amazing quality parts on this. The forks are very budget forks. I'd like to swap them out too, but I'd have to find one that, you know, works with the front motor. The D2 Pantera, I think it's like 1,300 bucks, somewhere in that neighborhood. 13, 14, I can't remember. And I have like I think it's a $300 discount code on it. So you can get this bike for like $1,000 bucks or like 1,100 bucks. It's a pretty cheap option to start with if you're looking for a dual motor bike with 60 volts. And the battery pack, just so you know, it's a pretty big battery pack. I think it's 25 amp hour at 60 volts here in the frame. It blends in. I mean, they really did a good job of just blacking everything out on this. Well, there you go. Hope you enjoyed my little modification video here. And I'm hoping really that it inspires you to take some of the things that you don't like about your bike and just change them. It's not that hard to change some of this stuff out, especially if you got a cheap bike like this. You know, if you ruin something, it's not that huge of a deal. If you buy a bike for like $5,000 and you ruin something, you're gonna be really mad. But for starting out, something like this is really cool. You can not spend a ton of money and kind of modify it and play with it. That's all I got for today. I'm gonna go out and take this thing for a ride and enjoy. See you in the next one. One other thing we need to look into is changing out this display screen. It is super dark. Just need to find one that works with it. Can you even see it on camera? Gosh, it's really dim.